Welcome to the Guide Talk podcast, where we trade fish stories, guide tips, and a whole lot of river talk. I'm one of your hosts, Logan Huff.
And I'm Morgan Gus.
And we are your guides on this journey. Brought to you by Diamond State Fly Co., your trusted fly shop and outfitter nestled in the heart of the Ozarks. In each episode, we dive into the world of fly fishing, sharing stories from the water, insights from seasoned guides, and the lessons the river teaches us. Whether you're a seasoned angler or just getting your feet wet, Guide Talk is here to inspire, educate, and connect you to the life of fly fishing. So grab your gear, tie on your favorite fly, and let's wade into today's episode of Guide Talk.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Guide Talk podcast. We're here with Chad Johnson today of CJ's White River Outfitters. CJ's White River Outfitters, right?
Yep.
Sweet. You just started your own podcast.
I did. Yep. CJ's Real Southern Podcast.
Did you do that the other night?
So what we're doing is we're just doing
we were trying to coordinate this, and
Yes.
I thought, I know you had to do one with the boys over at Ozark podcast.
Yes, but I'm doing one with Landon Mayers next.
that's
And
right.
Landon, we were supposed to do it the other night, and Landon landed himself in the hospital with some back issues. And like, I actually
been through it.
I couldn't get a hold of him for a couple of days, and I was like, I sent him a text and was like, look, if you don't have time to do the podcast, like, dude, just let me know. And so he sends me back a picture of him all laid up in the hospital, and I'm like, oh crap.
Well, now I feel bad.
Now I feel bad. Like, I thought he was just kind of getting too busy to have time for me, but he assured me anyway. So we'll jump on that.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because I was trying to lock this one down. We were trying to lock this down this week. You had Ozark podcast. And then you were like, I'm trying to speak with Landon.
We were talking like we had three.
Yeah, I was like, hey, this guy, Chad.
And I have no idea why people want to hear me talk.
It's the accent.
It's the accent. Yeah. People love the Southern, I guess.
You're from Mississippi.
Mississippi, just south of Jackson, Mississippi, a couple hours north of the coast. So kind of Mississippi, Louisiana fishing.
Yeah.
Mainly muddy waters.
How long ago did you move up here?
It's actually 20 years ago this coming 4th of July. I drove up on 4th of July, 2005.
That's when you officially moved here.
That's when I moved up here. Yep. And just kind of took a job in the fly shop by going up there and
Sweet
doing it.
Well, that's the thing. You never come and sweep our floors.
Yeah, I don't want a job. I got too much going on. We were just talking about how much I had going on.
You don't need us anymore.
No, and besides, you have Logan.
That's true. We do have a good
You
sweeper.
have Logan. That's a good sweeper.
I don't think I've ever seen him pick up a broom.
That's because you're usually not here when I sweep.
That's not true.
I sweep first thing in the morning most days.
You don't.
Yeah, you do.
You don't even know how. You could point out a broom if it.
Morgan just thinks it mysteriously cleans itself every night.
It does.
Yeah, the little elves come in.
I come in half hour late. Like I come in, we open at 7:30. I'm here at 8, and it's just like it's clean. It's perfect.
Yeah,
Those
nice shop.
those June bugs that cover our floor every day don't
Isn't
just
that
magically
nuts?
disappear.
bad this year.
I am cleaning them out of my boat every morning before I start work.
Yeah.
They're bad this year.
I know. So
Which is
what I hadn't done was seen any like actually on the water or anything. Like we see our little Japanese beetles all the time, and like I've literally, when those things first come, I had this massive kill on my back porch at the cabin. I mean, every morning there were 200 to 300. So there was something to do with my tin roof and that they were attracted to or something.
the June bugs?
No,
the
the little
Japanese
Japanese beetles. And then we started fishing that psycho ant.
Yeah.
Okay. Right about the time that those things hit. And we could not figure out for the life of us why they were eating that dang thing. I actually think Brock Dixon was one of the first ones fishing that thing. But anyway, one day we're going down the river and we get hung on the bank. We go in, we get the fly off. All these beetles fall in, and there's a couple of them stuck together. And Gabe just looks down at him and he goes, "Are you kidding me?"
That's the psycho.
He goes, "Turn that dang psycho ant over." He goes, "What's that look like?" Because that's two beetles stuck together. He goes, "Could that really be what it is?" And so we downsized and started fishing the beetle. That first year we fished beetles, I watched 2-footers turn downstream and chase that beetle down. We were catching brown trout with 5, 6, 7 of them in their mouths when we would catch them. Like, they were on them.
So,
And it just seems like it's slowly dwindled.
yeah, have we always had those since you've
No.
been here?
No,
Those
I would-
Japanese beetles came in somewhere in between when you first got here
So-
and now.
What I don't want to do is say that they hadn't been here because I'm no entomologist or whatever. But what I would tell you is I had never had the kills on the cabin deck
You hadn't
before.
recognized.
And then all of a sudden we started recognizing them. I had never caught brown trout with them in their mouths. That's something you recognize, you know what I mean? And so I do feel like they kind of came in,
Yeah.
but that was just, that was what we felt like. They kind of came in, they boomed. It was
It was a good
6
Japanese
years,
beetle.
5 or 6 years that those things were a little thicker, and then it just and they're still here.
Oh, no, yeah,
They're
yeah.
still
Yeah,
here,
I see.
but just not in the abundance.
Yeah, I agree. I don't feel like because I moved here 6 years ago, almost to the date, a little over.
Mm-hmm.
No, was it? No, 5 years. I don't know, something like that. And that
You got the last 2 years of it.
yeah, it was like 2 good years of
Yeah.
like tons of Japanese beetles.
Yeah.
You'd see
Yeah.
them that like river left side, down from Cotter.
Oh yeah, Spout Springs is loaded with them, dude. That's actually where I seen a couple of 2-footers turn around and go downstream. They were on them hard through that section.
Thick.
Yeah, it was so good.
But yeah, no, it doesn't seem.
But, however, even like last week before the water came up, I was fishing a hopper to a beetle.
Yeah.
And they were picking the beetle every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I caught very few those 2 days I done that on the hopper. We caught it seemed like the only time we would catch them on the hopper is when we were going through a little faster water, and everything else was on the beetle. I'd fish the beetle just, 17 inches, 18 inches
So
behind.
I had a day a couple weeks ago up at the dam where I had one of those June bugs crawling on my foot. And just because I didn't want it crawling on my foot anymore, I picked it up and I threw it out in the water. And a fish destroyed it, like annihilated it.
Okay,
And
yeah. Time to do some brown beetles.
He came back in the day after. He's got a puck full. He's like, check these out. And I'm like,
we
it's a gold beetle.
but they're
just
but they're
like-
big.
That's
Oh, they're
It's
big.
a little
Yeah.
bigger.
And, but we caught good fish
Doing it.
on those beetles, yeah.
Yeah.
For a week and a half or so, and then I felt like the June bugs kind of I stopped seeing quite so many, like in my boat and stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's why we fish a lot of those fat Alberts.
Yeah.
Because I think it crosses pretty well with you can go to that bigger size of that fat Albert to kind
Yep.
of do our annual cicadas,
Yep.
but you can really downsize it and do like a June bug kind of pattern or something like that. Last year during the brood cicada hatch, I just tied a fat Albert in orange.
That's right.
I think
Yeah.
crushed it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't get complicated with my fly patterns.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I can't tie.
That's
I can't tie very well, but I can tie a fat Albert. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can just do these in a bunch of different colors. It'll be
Right.
great.
dude, and
that day that fish ate that beetle, it's not really hopper season really yet, and so I have a few hoppers I keep with me at all times, but my main hopper box was not in my boat, and so I had I just took the pattern that I had the closest to, and they didn't really touch it. But then the next day when I was out there and actually had the beetles,
so they were actually eating the beetle, yeah. And those June bugs have been around for freaking ever, because I'd never forget, I guess if I've been up here 20 years, it was 22 years ago or 21 years ago, right before I moved up here. We came up on a camping trip, and one of our buddies, Lee, notoriously drunk by the time it's time to go to bed, and he walks in his tent and he doesn't stop. He just keeps going, and he walks up the wall of the tent to the point that the door was sticking straight up in the air. And we were all still up for another 2 hours, and those June bugs were everywhere. And we started playing basketball, dude. And we were throwing those June bugs in that hole in the top of the tent for 2 dang hours, dude. He woke up, and he had a fro. He had this giant gray fro. And he wakes up, and those beetles, he comes walking out of that. He pops straight up out of the top of that tent where the hole was and starts walking out of it again. And he's just got June bugs all in the tent. And so those things have been here forever. I know those have.
yeah.
I'm excited for our water situation right now. It's looking pretty good.
It is. It is. I feel like we might have a few days of it a little higher than we want, but not much. And that's,
It's okay.
dude, as soon as he turned on that water, those sulfurs started popping up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The second, I mean, it was like, boys, when I say the second, I was up top. You know I don't like going up there. I was fishing some boys out of Gaston's, and it was the very first day of the 10,000. Very first day of the 10,000, and at 2 o'clock, I start seeing sulfurs, and I tell the boys, I said, boys, there ain't going to be nothing up. I mean, it's going to take a couple days for them to get used to it. As I'm pulling up behind the brush top to 5 browns sitting there going, gloom, 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 right after he cut that water on. So, like, it's time. It's time.
I was up at the dam the first day they turned that water on and saw the exact same thing. Just like, I mean, like literally within minutes of that water coming out.
There were
I
bugs.
was like, saw my first sulfur. I was like, oh, look, guys, it's gonna. And I told my guys the same thing you did. Is all right. We got like, a week or so. We'll start seeing them thick now. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't 5 minutes, and there was
some fish.
They're ready for them.
Yeah.
They're ready for them.
Yeah. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
It's a good bit in Wildcat today.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I like dry fly fishing that big water.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't bother me a bit.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, well, it stacks them up so well.
Right.
See, I think compared to like some of our previous years, like a caddis dries, when we were getting that like consistent 1 unit or so, like our dry fly fishing on caddis just wasn't great. Like,
Well, they were so spread out, right?
Yeah.
They're all over the place. As soon as that big water comes on, it concentrates them and makes it kind of so much easier.
Oh, you see, like people just get the absolute yips when you get in front of a pod of 10 to 15 brown trout, just like getting drunk.
A guy that's been casting great all day.
I have one of my best buddies, phenomenal fly fisherman, really great caster, got me my first gig out in Steamboat guiding. Like, he's good, and he just absolutely had a conniption when he got in front of those all like just pods of brown trout. He just lost it. I was like, man, what happened there?
I tell all of my clients, our first drift, if we catch one, it's a bonus. But our first drift is just
Seeing him, setting him, finding him.
Yep. Just
It was funny, man.
focus on seeing those fish and getting used to the fact that there's 20 brown trout.
Well, like, and he was just trying trying to bomb it out there.
Yeah.
Throw tailing loops, and I was like, settle down. It's
Take
like
a deep
I'm like,
breath.
dude, you have caught so many of these 20 to 22 inch, 18 to 22 inch brown trout in your life, like it's just another one. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's
But
not.
seeing them does something to people.
Yeah.
It's so fun though.
It is so fun.
It's so good. I mean, I love our sulfurs, and then really I love our hopper fishing.
Yeah, our hopper fishing's fun because I like doing the casting to the bank. I enjoy it.
Well, like
But,
especially on this
but
river.
that's obviously so different than fishing that hatch.
Yeah. But like, I like the hopper fishing just because especially in higher water, it's just a target-rich environment.
Yeah,
That it's like I just help.
And I like catching browns and flip-flops as well.
Me too.
Yep.
Yeah, shorts and flip flops is a lot nicer than like what y'all had this morning.
All our winter fishing when we're all bundled up and electric vest and all kinds of crap. Dude, I love the flip-flop brown trout.
Yeah,
I think the first time the three of us ever fished together was hopper fishing. It's like 2 years ago, I think now. And that was like kind of not really my first exposure to like hopper fishing, but like my first exposure to it on the white at least.
Yeah.
And I just like ever since then it's been my absolute favorite thing to do.
It's easy to fall in love with. Well, we enjoy casting, right?
Yeah.
And then hitting that target is satisfying as well. It's the whole thing.
I remember when I first got to Dally's, and Chad's like, "Hey, like, I'm just gonna go piddle around. Like, hit me up when you're off. Let's go throw some hoppers." And I'm throwing them. Like, I'm casting pretty good, I think I caught a couple, and Chad's sitting there on his trolling motor. Dude, boom. He's just smoking them. And I was like, who is this guy? I'm like, he's not even looking. He's looking down on his trolling motor, like his trolling motor remote, and the hopper's gone. And he looks up and he's like, I'm like, what the hell? And I'm just like, laser beams, and he's going to just like flopping it out there so casually. I was like, God damn it. Yeah. But all right, I'm going to spend a lot more time around Chad Johnson.
Right.
Well, and time on the water, and on the same water. That's the other thing. When we do go fish the white and do things like that, you got to realize like the bulk of my trout experience has been here.
Yeah.
I've only trout fished a couple of other places, and only a handful of times. When I leave here, I don't go after trout.
No.
It's some sort of bass, saltwater.
I feel like our trout fishing
I'm going to do something.
is so good here that it's like I would get like going to like just experience a new river, have fun, but it's
Yeah.
like I don't really think you're going most other places to go like beat them up.
Catch better fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like we're going to Utah for vacation with my dad, and I got a day on the green while we're over there.
Yeah, and the green's fun.
I would never travel over there to go fish that, but I'm not going to go over there and not fish it. It'll be a cool experience. You get to see something different. You get to meet some new people. I mean, all that's great. But like as far as leaving here to go make a planned vacation to fish trout, just hadn't been
No, I would
on my radar.
rather go do smallmouth.
Like muskie, smallmouth, largemouth, saltwater,
Yeah. Like if
anything.
I'm planning a fishing trip, it's probably not going to be for trout anymore.
That's right.
For years, every summer I'd go out west and fish, and now since being here, it's every time I'm going to travel to fish, it's saltwater. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Saltwater.
Yeah. It's super addicting.
Yeah.
Well, and part of it is not just living here, but the fact that we're all guys and we spend so much time on it, and you see so many trout come to your boat that it's like, okay, I need to see something different. Right. And it's like I told my buddy down there, one of the things I love to do is test your fishy, right? Go somewhere, something you don't know everything about, and see if you can figure it out, because
That's a really fun part of it.
that's fun.
Yeah.
And, here we kind of go, okay, we're going to catch one here. okay, we're probably going to catch one here. And so you already know, you've already done it dozens of times. And so it's just nice to go do something different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you've been going down to Turks recently.
Yes. I've got a buddy, Max, that he just moved to Turks. Him and his wife built a place. They moved to Turks. He's a big fisherman. She loves sailing and diving, and they own a construction company out of Oklahoma, and it kind of runs itself. And so I've been able to go over there. Right now, the main thing we've been doing is bone fishing. We know there's other stuff over there. We've caught some jacks. We know there's some other stuff over there, but like exploring that big of a place when there's not really any guides, there's a couple.
Yeah.
And so we'll take a guide trip here and there, but like it's kind of the fun part of that over there is like there's nobody there to teach us. We got to go kind of figure it out, find the fish, heck, try to figure out how to get to the fish without getting stuck. We spent the night almost spent the night on the ocean one night. We came back in the dark, and after we came back in the dark, once the tide came up, we said, we'll never do that again. We'll spend the night, because that was one of the hairiest things I ever done in a boat. Yeah, just amazing fishing over there. There's nobody over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a fair amount of salt experience, but mostly redfish.
Yeah, lots of redfishing. I mean, I've caught tarpon in a couple of different places, and I've gone and done bone fishing in a couple of different places, but mainly red fishing. But I've been going red fishing every year for the last 20 years. But just Louisiana. That's generally where I go. I just know the waters there.
I was promised at one time that I would get to go on that trip.
Ooh. Yeah.
So maybe a sore subject.
No, well,
they got a tight crew.
Yeah.
Have really good dudes.
Well,
the
and that
Levins
crew's been going for almost those 20 years.
Right. I've just been pushing down this button, just being like,
But
get me an invite.
yeah,
Like,
well,
maybe one day, buddy.
But what we need to do is just, and I've been telling them, like, I'd love to stay for 2 weeks. So I'll hang
2
with them for
groups.
a week, and then Diamond State could come for a week.
Yeah, maybe one day.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've actually, these last couple of years, I've been staying down there like longer than the guys anyway. I'm off. I'm coming back here to freeze my balls off. And so I'd rather stay down there in the Louisiana heat.
Heck yeah.
And catch redfish. And so like a couple of weeks down there a year, a couple of weeks in Turks a year. That kind of gets me away from the coldest part of the winter.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. We got a lot of snow this year.
Yeah.
For our area. And I did not move from Colorado to Arkansas to deal with that much snow.
Well, that's the deal. Like, Colorado's cool with the snow and all, but it's a cool place to go visit, go do some snowboarding or skiing, and bring your butt back down south.
Yeah. But like, I mean, I loved working there, guiding there, working the ski resort there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it got old fast. Waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go shovel a foot of snow off your truck to go help your crews shovel out lifts. It's like, well, it's a lot of white stuff.
It's a lot of work to live up there that time of year.
I don't like having to shovel snow the 2 times a year that we get it.
But like,
Yeah.
and that's just what's so nice about here is we have such an awesome trout fishery in Arkansas. I mean, and it was somewhat on my map when I met my wife, but not anything close. And she was like,
Well, you got to come experience it, right?
yeah. And like when I first met my wife, because she's from Northwest Arkansas, we met out in Colorado. She was like, oh yeah, I'm from Arkansas. And I was like, that sucks. And she's like, no. Like, you got to come see it. She dragged my butt out here.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I could live here.
Oh,
I could live
oh, I didn't know Arkansas was like this. And what it is, I mean, let's be honest about it. It's the Ozarks.
Yeah.
We could almost like the Ozarks happen to be in Arkansas, but we're talking about the Ozarks. We're not talking about Arkansas.
Right.
And
I would step out on a limb, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but like South Arkansas almost should be just a different state.
Yeah, right.
Because
I think
the Ozarks,
I think
it's so
the
much different
Ozarks
than the
should be.
Ozarks.
It's just
right.
you're moving to a region,
Right.
not a state, you know. And I think once
Yeah,
you
that's
break
right.
out of that, like that bubble of thinking you're just moving to a particular state, you're just you're really moving to the Ozarks, which
Well,
is
like
a region.
even California, you know, you get up into Northern California, it's beautiful, very little crime. Like, you know, I mean, it can still be a great place to live, but you get down to South California, it's pretty crazy. And so
It's a sore subject.
you can live in a
For a
region.
Southern California boy.
You can't trust those Southern Californians.
I wouldn't.
I'm a Southern Mississippi guy, and it's kind of crappy.
I wouldn't trust those California boys.
Yeah, fruits and nuts.
What's funny about me is I grew up in Missouri. I grew up, 10 minutes on the other side of the border, just right here. And growing up, we made fun of Arkansas. I would have, if somebody would have told me back then that I would one day live in Arkansas, I would say, you're nuts. There's no way I'm moving down there. But
Now we make fun of you for being from Missouri.
well, now I make fun of Missouri.
Yeah,
To all of my Missouri friends, Arkansas is better. Sorry.
It is cool down here. I mean, they've established such good trout fishing here.
yeah.
And then on top of that, you have all the native species like smallmouth,
Oh, yeah.
which are just
And we got walleye and striper and everything up on the lake, and it's just it's kind of for the South. It's the whole it's the big picture, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's, I mean, Tennessee has some really cool places,
yeah.
that are really a whole lot like this,
Yeah.
you know. But when I think about other places across the country, it's like it's different.
The hard part about living here is deciding what fish am I going to chase today.
Well,
Because
Yeah,
there's so
especially
many
during the
options.
spring.
yeah.
Right. like there's been so many days recently that I've wanted to get up on the lake and chase those stripers, especially as they're starting to kind of hit up on top and
Yep.
things like that. And spring is also our busy season on the river, so I haven't really had the time. But on my days off, it's hard to decide what do I want to do today.
Yep.
You take days off?
Well, that's a good point. I don't really have days off, but in the
On your afternoons off.
in the little bit of free time that I have,
I know. It's
Yeah.
like I've been kicking myself because I haven't been on the creek in like 2 years.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've just been so tied up with either trout fishing or working in here.
even so much as like chasing the grass carp in the city pond. I mean, like that's definitely best this time of year before that grass gets so built up that you can't hardly get to them.
And y'all went and done that a couple of times.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an easy one to be like, I've got 15 minutes to kill. I'm going to stop at the pond and see. And
Try to catch a grass carp.
we have hooked up. We have yet to land one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I have fished for grass carp for years and have not landed one. I have a book, like a bucket list book of fish that I want to land on fly.
Mm-hmm.
Grass carp has eluded me since I've lived in Arizona.
Striper has eluded me. I can't get a striper on the fly.
Mm.
Well, grass carp too. I haven't landed one either, but the striper is the one I'm
I don't know why. Like I've hooked up with them.
Yeah.
They always spit it. I don't know if you have a secret, Chad.
Well, I mean, I got a fly that I use, but if you're getting them hooked, that's a different ball game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If you're getting them to eat, then you're past that part. But I mean, I have in the past just say,
less.
tied a piece of Swiss straw to a hook and it floats on top
Yeah.
and they eat it like a blade of grass.
I've been told to wait until the day the city mows.
Guys, like you can literally go up there after they do that and watch them mill around on top and eat the grass. That's what made me tie the dang fly. I was literally watching them get one end of it and kind of do like this until that blade of grass was just gone. And I was like, holy crap. And I come back and tied that Swiss straw and went back up there the next week and got a couple of them. Yeah.
Do you know what day they mow?
No.
That's what we got to figure out.
Yeah.
Logan's fixing to call up the city planner. He's gonna be like, boss,
Dude, I'll just
he's gonna bring his zero train out there, just do one lap around the pond.
Yeah,
when I come mow the shop,
bring
here,
your weed eater.
Yeah, I'll just stop by with my zero train.
What are you doing?
What is he
I'm just helping out.
Get Samaritan.
It would probably work though.
There's just so much to do
Yeah.
fishing wise. It's fun. It is. And the trout fishing is.
And this,
Incredible.
the stripers running up into the arms of Norfolk, on the north end, Tecumseh, up that area. Phenomenal white bass run, and those hybrids follow them up there. You can catch those hybrids if you'll get down out of the river and get down still into the narrow arm of that lake, but downstream a mile where it really slows down and begins to turn back to lake, and get on those warm mud banks, and you can catch those hybrids that run up with them. And that, and so you get off the whites that are probably 1.5 pounds to a big one would probably be 3 pounds to small hybrid would be 4 pounds to kind of that 6. I hadn't caught a bunch of big hybrids up there, but they definitely run up with those whites.
You're doing that on 8 weights, sinking lines?
As a general rule, I've done it on 7s.
Okay.
Yeah, I normally take 7s white, and then if we got into the true stripers, I was using 8s. But I've never really caught, now they say that stripers have run up that whole arm now that they've broken that down. I still haven't been up and done that. That's one thing I would like to go do.
So I floated it 2 years ago, and the amount of stripers that are in the river, way up the river, is mind-boggling. And the size of some of them is absolutely insane. But out of all of the fish, now we were midday, which I've been told is the absolute worst time to do this, but that's just the timing of our float.
It's just kind of his fishy nature.
I you know what? I want to target these fish when they don't eat. Like that's how
Yeah, really test yourself.
Yeah. No, we had Vince went with me, and Vince and I both had one swipe, and that was it. But like I said, middle of the day, I would say that's pretty decent.
Yep. Midday can be tough.
Yeah, I've been told daybreak is.
Oh yeah.
You almost have to do an overnight camp on the river and then hit them.
You gotta be there at daylight, dude.
Yeah.
If you talk to these striper guys out there, they're meeting their people at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And it's over with by 10.
Yeah.
Where the striper hole I had back in Mississippi, you'd be there at daylight, is over with by 9. If you got 9, a lot of times 8. And it was like there wasn't even a fish there. Once that sun come up, there were no bites to be had.
Yeah. I've done it on Texoma.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, these boys are done at 10.
Yes.
And drinking garage beers at 11.
Yeah.
And I was like, thanks, I need to be a striper.
Now, I will tell you that where me and Ben Levin have caught daytime stripers at is the lower Illinois.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been over there yet.
I want to check it out.
That can be really good, guys. I mean, it's almost like our trout. Sometimes the weather isn't as important as the push that just come through.
Right.
And so those stripers will react to these pushes just like our browns do. And so you can go over there and you can beat the daytime sometimes as long as you got the push to hit.
Yeah.
And so there's it's just a really unique fishery over there. But we've had daytime stripers over there, and that is the only place I've ever fished for stripers that I catch them during the day, in midday.
Now, multiple times, because I live right on Norfolk Lake, so I get to fish it a decent bit. But
multiple times I've had stripers follow all the way up to the boat, and just like I get to see them. I've considered it. They follow it all the way up to the boat. But I just
speed it up. More so instead of like we do so much with our bass and trout where we're trying to make it all herky-jerky for him all of a sudden, and he's tracking it and wants it, throw that dude under your arm and start double-handing it. A lot of times you've got his attention already.
Right.
You just need to make him eat it. And a lot of times if they think it's getting away, they eat it. So that's just, like, obviously, I wouldn't tell you that on bass, or I wouldn't tell you that on the trout, so to speak, but on stripers. I've had that on the lower Illinois before where we were putting 7-inch sluggos in, putting the rod under our arm, double-handing it all the way back, and that's what they want.
Do you think that gets into having to be pattern specific? Like, with your... Like, no. So like with your sluggo, it has a very specific action and a very specific movement to kind of do that. Like, I always describe it to people like it's as close to the thing as a fluke as you can get. Like, where it just like you hit that stall and you just don't really know what it's gonna do on that sluggo, but like. I think, like, if you're double-handing the sluggo, you're not getting any of that action.
No, it simply looks like you could use, Blaine's, any of Blaine's jointed flies. You can use deceivers. All that is just a swim.
The one I've had them chase is the Big Johnson.
Yeah.
The white and blue one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that white, blue, and gray one is really a good color.
Yeah.
I catch a lot of my largemouth bass on that color. Yeah.
You do have some, like, I would say in some of your flies, especially the Big Johnson, like what would seemingly be off-branded colors like that. Mm-hmm. Having so much blue and that light blue and gray. Mm-hmm. When you first look at it, you're like, just doesn't really like scream troutiness to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That thing. Gosh.
Yeah. It's, you know what, man? It is what it is. Look at a lot of your bass lures and look at a lot of the colors on them. Right. And then go look at my bugs.
Yeah.
I'm from Mississippi, man. I'm a bass boy. And so I look at a lot of those old school bugs that are lures that I use, and I went, well, I know they love this color. I know they love that white with a red head,
Right.
I know they like bubblegum and tan. I used to crush them on bubblegum and tan. So, like, I've got a bunch of bubblegum and tan sluggos.
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask
a lot of my weird colors might come from my old days of bass fishing.
I was wondering if you did a bubblegum sluggo, because
bubblegum and tan seems to be the color they like with it.
There's something about, I don't know if it's just the Ozarks or what, but I hadn't seen a bubblegum fluke work as good as I did till I met my father-in-law.
Yeah.
And he has, packs of bubblegum flukes. And I was like, what is this? And he was just like,
I don't know what it is, dude.
Right.
I don't know what.
Get on the bubblegum fluke train.
Yeah.
We used to use bubblegum worms all the time growing up. Like Cinco's and stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you ask a lot of the guys, like Davey Watton will tell you that the colors we're seeing and the colors they're seeing once it's down there are not the same.
Right.
And so a lot of times I don't need to match the color of something that I'm trying to tie as much as maybe I'm tying that minnow in a color that I know works well, and maybe I don't even know why it works well. Why the heck does bubblegum work well? Right. Well, I don't need to know why it works well. I just need to know it works.
Pink is the first color that disappears in the water column, right? Like,
yeah.
Let's say, Umpqua just came out with that pink tippet for that reason. And So
It's
my thought is that pink is the first color to disappear,
maybe.
and so it almost looks translucent to the fish.
Yeah, maybe.
Which if you think
Which-
about their food, like a
yeah.
lot of the shad are
Would
kind of
make
more
sense.
translucent colored, and
Yeah.
yeah.
See, like, I get all that, but why are we then, like, with that being said,
Right.
why are we matching like our dry flies? Is it a light spectrum thing because they're on the surface,
I would think so.
or are they just eating via shape and
Well,
size?
if you think about it, as soon as we sink our sulfurs, we're not fishing them in that color. As soon as
But
we
they're-
sink them,
but
we're
they're-
going to brown.
But they're more brown in their nymphal form than they are once they come out of their
Mm-hmm.
nymphal form and go to an adult.
But with their adult, are they, like say, are they showing true color because they're not underwater? This is a question I don't know.
You know, or is
I
it-
don't know the
yeah,
answer to
I
this.
don't do that. It's like,
That would be my theory. Like they're
Like,
sitting,
I
they're
just-
sitting on the water or on the surface, you know. So like
or is it just like
they're seeing true color. at
is
that
it just a shade? You know, like
Mhm.
like with like our sulfurs, could you get away with like a
Well, let's tie up some.
Well,
like,
the one that I use the most is almost tan, not sulfur.
well, I was gonna say let's tie up some funky colored sulfur flies and test this
see if
theory.
they eat them?
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know either. But that's a good question. I don't know why.
We'll have to get some like entomologist on here to.
We need
Well,
an entomologist to answer a few questions for us on the white anyway.
If you or someone you know is an entomologist, please reach out to us,
Dude.
At contact@Diamond State Fly.
I have a picture on my phone,
yes,
and
answer some questions for us.
I'm pretty sure I had a March brown in my boat, or like a mahogany.
Okay, yeah.
I have a picture.
I've seen some
Dude,
weird,
I think
I've seen
we're a
some
young
weird
river.
stuff. Oh,
Me
for
too.
sure.
We're a young river. It's still mature in bug life.
Like we saw. Well, we kind of debated on whether it was a yellow Sally or a golden stone.
I think it was a golden.
I'm definitely leaning more towards a golden, but we had the
Wouldn't that be amazing to get a big bug?
yeah. Well, and then the amount of stone flies that we have had up here at the shop this year has been absurd.
Yeah.
We've had a lot,
Put your old man glasses on.
I know.
and they're more like salmon fly looking, like
Dang,
stone
he's
flies.
black.
Like it's like closer to like a mahogany that I used to see out west. But usually we didn't get those mahoganies till late. But it's a different river, you know, different.
Yeah, the
then-
temperatures are totally
Yeah.
different because it's coming out of the bottom of the lake.
Right.
And then there was the day that I believe you and I were down at Rim, I believe, and there was a big mayfly on the river.
Yeah, like a drake.
Yeah, like a big one. And then like probably the next day or so, somebody came into the shop here and said, "Hey, there was a bunch of really big mayflies coming off the water just below Cotter."
I think we're
And
gonna
he asked me what they were, and I was like, I didn't have an answer for him. I made a couple guesses, but I without seeing them. And
I think like in our lifetime, maybe not yours, Chad.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
No, I think we're gonna start to see. I
Oh,
mean,
I think you can see
you
more
can
bugs.
you can attest that we've
Yeah.
seen a big development.
Dude,
Of bugs
so
on this
different than
river.
when I got here.
Right.
well, even since I've gotten here, the blue-wing olives in the winter have gotten significantly better. Like
Yeah.
the biggest blue-wing olive hatch I've ever seen was just this past winter.
Yeah. And, I've told you, all you boys, like, if you want to be the next big thing on the white, be the next dry fly fisherman, because
Yeah.
that's what this is turning into.
It's
Yeah.
good dry fly fish.
I mean, think about it. I mean, we're getting to dry fly fish from April and then add in the hopper at the end. We're getting to do some sort of dry fly fishing from April to September.
Yeah.
That was not
good.
the case a few years ago.
It's just very selective, and we have windows of it
Oh, dude, well, you got
comparatively to like some of the stuff I've done out west.
to get here on the right day with the right water, with the right weather,
And-
with the right.
That's so much a part of our river
I think
And like, especially when we get into like streamer season, you know, like we try and plan these boys to come out here and we're like, yes, like history has shown we're going to have good water
Yeah.
this time of year. And they get out here and it's minimum flow. And it's like, oh, boys, like throwing 7-inch, 8-inch streamers probably isn't in the cards today.
Yep.
but if there's blue wing olives coming off when that happens, there's maybe another option.
Oh, I'm not super partial to throwing dry flies in a puffy coat, but
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, and that can really be any season. I mean, you get here to throw hoppers and it's dead low. You
Yeah.
get here to fish sulfurs and it's dead low because they only come off in higher water. Get here, you know, I mean, the water matters, right? But with us fishing the tailwater and the way they drain this section, this region through the White River system, like, it's just the way it's always going to be. And if you want to fish it, you've got to come more than once or you're not going to get the real experience.
I agree.
It's just reality of this tailwater.
And I say, like, in the same aspect is like I try and get people to book, especially like during streamer season,
Oh,
like 2 to 3 days.
Minimum.
Like you need
Minimum.
it. Like you cannot expect to come out here and hunt your one trophy fish.
Right. There's
in
the
8 hours. Of
there's
fishing.
the YouTube. There's a video on YouTube of and I cannot remember who it is, but a fairly well known guy in the industry came here for years, fished for a week at a time, and it was finally, I think, on his like 4th or 5th year he got a good fish on a streamer.
mm-hmm.
And like, you know, sometimes you have to put that in perspective in the middle of streamer season when you've gone a day or two without poking a good fish, and it's like, well, you know, it's just not going to happen.
You're hunting.
Yeah. Or simply remember what you're here doing. You're hunting a trophy.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's a trophy, you don't catch those all the time. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called a trophy, right? So,
Right.
I mean, like, you are sadly mistaken if you think you're going to come out here and catch fish over 2 foot every time you come. That's not the reality.
And I
of
think,
it.
like we kind of touched on this last podcast, is like Instagram does a really good job of painting this picture
Oh, yeah.
of like, this is just, you come out here and you're like, you pay your guide fees, you've earned it.
2-footers are jumping in the boat.
And it's like, that is
That's
not the case.
Not the case. No.
like, it is very
You've
hard.
got probably one of the best opportunities in the country of
Sure.
getting a 2-footer,
Yeah.
but that crap don't happen every
Right.
day.
Yeah, it's a world class fishery. It's not an easy fishery.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. Even between us guides, we hear about it when somebody catches something over 2 foot.
But
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
right.
even between us. So it's like, oh,
Right.
such and such got a good one today. So, I mean, it's even something between us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
In other words, we're going, ooh. And so like,
my 3 biggest fish are all 27s.
mm-hmm.
One of them I caught. 2 of them were clients. And this is my 6th year guiding out here.
There you go.
20,
That's right.
27.
To put that
I
into
cannot
perspective.
I cannot put anything bigger than the 27.
Well, but you think about it, a 27 is a freaking giant,
Right.
giant brown trout.
Yeah.
You know,
I've got 127, and that was just a month ago. And
Yeah.
and that, you know, that's it.
yeah, but I mean,
It's not easy.
what I would say is ask around the guide world at how many guides have ever put a 27 in their boat,
Right.
right? We're jaded here. We watch these boys catch these giants on bait, da. We know what's under us. So we catch one and we go, oh, yeah, this is a good one. No, that is an amazing fish that you can't find anywhere else in the country, right? I mean, well, I don't want to say it like that. There's obviously a nice fish in other places,
Sure.
but
We seemingly cull a lot of 24-inch fish.
yeah,
Like, I mean, and I only catch a handful of 2-footers a year. I mean,
Right.
one hand, minus a couple fingers, probably. that I
Catch a lot of 23 and a halfs.
like that I pull through, and like 24 is amazing.
Yeah.
That's an
Round trap.
awesome
Correct.
fish.
What?
know?
Okay, so I was having this discussion just earlier this week with a client, and a client that's been here a bunch. So he knows the program, but even just like making the jump from, let's say, a 26-inch fish to a 27-inch fish, how many less fish do you think there are that are 27 than 26? I mean, like percentage wise, like it's there's a big difference.
There's a big,
right.
I think there's a fairly big jump.
And that progresses, like, like every inch you get above like 23.
There's fewer and fewer of them. Yes.
Yeah.
But like once you get like over 24, like, man, it's a drastic change from inch
Oh
to
yeah,
inch.
like I mean,
Yeah.
I was
30 is another big one.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. And that's
big.
that's specifically what we were talking is the difference between a 29 and a 30.
well, like we fished that
Well-
little guy trip for Brantoni's last year,
Mhm.
and I was like on a bite, and I think they do like a one big fish wins for like, and they fish for a week, and these boys can fish, and I was on a like probably my best bite of any year that I've ever had here, and it was just like 23 and a half, 23, 24, 24 and a half. And I think the mark at the time was like 25 or 25 and a half.
Mhm.
And it just seemingly, it's just like,
How do
like,
you get
like,
over
I'm
that
like,
mark?
What?
Yeah.
What can I'm like, how can I catch so many like really good 23, 24 inch fish and not poke a 26?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, we are just laying waste to really good fish. And it got to the point where it's just like, I could look at them and I'd be like, nope.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. No, it's a giant mark. Well, I mean, you speak of 29 to 30, like I've got either 6 or 7 over 29. Just me fishing, not counting customer fish, just my personal fishing. But I don't have a 30.
Yep.
Personally.
Right.
So that is a huge mark to jump over that 30 inches, no matter where you are in the world. That's just a giant mark. And even the fact that there's a few of those caught here every year is insane, So, yeah, we got them. They just don't jump in the boat, and you got to prepare to come and hunt for them. It's no different than going and hunting your permit. I know guys that have been down for 10 years trying to catch a dang permit. That's the same way it is if you come here and you want to fish over 2 foot, dude. You're going to have to come fish for them. You're going to have to put in some time,
Yeah.
right?
Well, you're definitely one of the best boats to be in to get a shot at it. So,
I've been here a while.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
One of the-
That's a big part of it.
If I were coming down here to catch a 30, I would probably want to be in your boat. Definitely not
For sure.
Leggings.
I
Ben Levens.
Yeah.
Ben,
Oh yeah.
Ben Levens.
Dude, he's a sneaky
He
good son.
may be, and I know a lot of guys in the business. Ben may be one of the fishiest people I know.
I would.
He's so fishy,
but
it's frustrating.
He's
like,
so quiet.
yeah.
Dude, you'll
And
never
he
get.
don't say anything, and he doesn't do like all these presentations and stuff where people know who he is and his name out there, like some of ours have been over the years.
He could.
But he is one of the fishiest dudes I know.
Yeah, he's sneaky good. Sneaky good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? His reputation around the community.
Oh, around here is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right.
If he-
He just doesn't get all this big publicity because he don't do these things, but
Yeah,
he's quiet, but he's a beast.
he's great.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
but yeah,
if I had to come here right now and hire somebody to put me on a 30-incher, I would hire Ben Levin.
yeah, you're
Me personally,
yeah, you're right. I wouldn't pay you. I think
Yeah.
I can get in your boat for
I
free.
just got jocked to the second tier. Just like that.
Yeah, well, you reminded me of Ben,
Yeah. Dang.
which is and he's such a nice dude.
Oh yeah, he's great, and I tell you, his brother Gabe,
It's
He's
just
a heck of a
super
fisherman as
fishy
well.
too.
No, I mean, obviously not the caliber. You know, Ben was on the U.S. fly fishing team.
Right.
Like he was paddling a canoe for Dwayne at 15.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben's kind of been around. You know, he got it in Alaska with me. He got it on, was it the Snake he got it on? I think he got it on the Snake for a little while.
Snake. I think
did a
Chile for 4 years. Alaska with me. Seems like I'm missing somewhere too. He got it somewhere else. But anyway, yeah, he's kind of got quite the resume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be on at some point.
Oh,
chest.
Yeah.
He doesn't know it yet, but he will be.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You got to get him talking. If you get him talking, he has a wealth of information, and the way he describes it is different than other people. Just like, you know, mine's a very redneck, but yeah, if you get him talking, you need to pay attention because he's got some good stuff.
Chad, what do you have coming up? You have anything coming up? Podcast stuff? You got some cool podcasts coming up. I know.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna on the podcast deal. It's good. You know,
you've lined out a couple of your guests to me.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be. I'm excited.
I've been very fortunate that I got to help a lot of those boys or be part of those boys' books, and now a lot of those boys are very happy to help me with a podcast. So I'm gonna kind of get to have some pretty nice people on. But yeah, I've got that going on. Other than that, we're just working. I do have CJ's Crooked Hideaway. It's a cabin over on Crooked Creek, about 5 minutes from Cotter Ramp.
One of the coolest views from any cabin in the area.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Really cool place.
Got 8 beds, private couple of acres. And so anyway, I do have that kind of up and would like to get a few more rentals on that. So that's kind of, other than that though.
VRBO?
No, you know, the best way to do it is to go on my website, just CJ's White River Outfitter. You go through us, you won't get all the charges and all the good stuff. You know?
And you'll speak directly with Brittany.
Yes. Okay. And then I have a booking agent, Brittany, and she will take care of everything and get you all booked up.
Very nice to work with.
Yeah.
I texted her the other day. Well, I texted her today, actually. I was like, hey, do you still have me on these trips? And she's like, yep, it's this. I'm like, like, I just want to double check.
Yeah. No, I would be in so much trouble without her.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody goes, yes, you would.
Yeah.
You don't even know how to send an email, dude.
I learned really, really quick to always ask Brittany any questions.
Dude, I don't know.
Right.
My customer at the end of the day today goes, okay, Chad, what's my balance? And I'm like, dude, that's between you and Brittany.
I don't know, man.
How am I supposed to know?
She cuts me a paycheck.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. So definitely look out for Chad on because you're part of that. Your podcast is part of the Wet Fly Swing.
It is. Yep. Just an offshoot of Dave's Wet Fly Swing. Just
so you can kind of look out for it on that. If you're coming out to the White River, look up his cabin. It's gorgeous. It's really close to our shop. Really close to the Cotter Ramp. Really good access, and it's beautiful accommodations. So yeah, check that out. Go through CJ. Other than that, like, man, we appreciate you coming on, hanging out.
That was fun, man. And y'all have made this place, I don't know if for you guys that hadn't been over here yet, they've made this place very comfortable. Like, these guys want you to come hang out, check out the shop, get to know us, meet these guys. They're going to help you with whatever you have going on here in the Ozarks. But, you should really check out the shop. As me and Larry McNair were talking about it today, and it may be one of the nicest shops between here and Montana. And so anyway, come check these boys out.
We appreciate it, Ted.
Yep.
Thanks, Chad.